Hi, my name is Sophia. Today, I am here to discuss the latest IELTS speaking questions. It is always advisable to prepare for different questions and topics prior to taking the test. However, don't be worried. Many of our candidates express that their main concern in IELTS speaking is the limited range of their vocabulary. But don't fret, not everyone has a vast vocabulary to speak about all topics, familiar or not. What's more, it is not necessary to have knowledge about everything in order to answer all questions. The key is to have strategies. Our goal today is to examine the latest IELTS speaking questions in Part 1, which covers 3 different topics. I will provide my answers to these questions and then analyze them based on IELTS criteria to explain why I gave these answers. We have 3 topics in Part 1 of IELTS speaking: hometown, concentration, and childhood. First, let's take a look at the questions and then listen to my answers. The first topic, hometown, includes 3 questions. What is your hometown known for? Do you think you'll continue living there for a long time? How has your town changed in the last 20 years? Next is the topic of concentration, with the following 3 questions. When is it hard for you to concentrate? In what situations do you need to concentrate? What do you do to improve your concentration? Finally, the topic of childhood includes 3 questions. Did you enjoy your childhood? What is your first memory of your childhood? Do you think it is better for children to grow up in the city or in the countryside? Take a moment to review these questions and think about the answers you would give, considering the structures, collocations, and connectives you would use. After taking some time, I will provide my answers to these questions. Okay, let's begin with the first topic of discussion, which is hometown. Here is the first question. What's your hometown known for? My answer is, I reside in a fantastic neighborhood that is well known for its diverse culture, open-air markets, and notable landmarks. I have lived here since childhood, but currently, my family lives in another country. Moving on to the second question. Do you think you'll continue living there for a long time? My answer is, yes, I do. As I previously mentioned, there are several factors that make me not want to move to another country, such as the lovely nature of my town, the friendly people, and the job opportunities available here. The third question asks, how has your town changed in the last 20 years? My answer is, one thing that immediately comes to mind is that the city has become more modern over the past 20 years. If you take a stroll around the city, you will see large shopping centers, restaurants, and stores that were not present a few years ago. Before we proceed to the next topic, concentration, I would like to review my answers from the hometown topic, to see if I have used the language required for the IELTS speaking test. In the first answer, some words, phrases, or collocations are highlighted in red. These are the collocations I used, which are also known as my vocabulary. The IELTS speaking test requires that, in the second criterion of lexical resource, you use collocations, idiomatic language, paraphrased words, and fillers and boosters. For example, the red highlighted words, such as reside, fantastic, well-known, diverse culture, open-air markets, which refers to outdoor markets, and notable landmarks. These are some words commonly used to describe one's hometown. Now in the second question, for example, you can use job opportunities. Or the third one, stroll around. Now there are some words marked in yellow. These are the synonyms. Because you are also expected to use direct synonyms in your answers, this is called paraphrasing, which means that you should not use what exactly you hear in the examiner's question, but also you should just use some direct synonyms to paraphrase them. But remember, just direct synonyms, whatever you are 100% sure about. For example, in the first answer, neighborhood. Instead of hometown, I use the word neighborhood. In the question it says what's your hometown known for, and in my answer I used my neighborhood. In the third answer, like the question says, how has your town changed in the last 20 years? And in the answer I use the word city. Or over the past 20 years, instead of in the last 20 years. Other than that, you should make sure to use a range of connectives and discourse markers. Just to mention some of these connectives, here in the first answer I use the word but, which is a simple connective, but other than that, the word even though, to show the contrast. And the second answer I use the word such as, to add more information like and, or that's why. To give the reason to something. So you should just try to use a range of connectives. Moving on to the second topic, which is concentration. The first question is, when is it hard for you to concentrate? My answer is, it may sound a bit funny, but I find it hard to stay focused when I have to listen to someone I'm not interested in. The problem is that these boring people tend to talk about themselves too much, and it takes them forever to make a point. Now, the second question is, in what situations do you need to concentrate? As I have a demanding job, being focused is a necessity, and I need to pay a lot of attention to it. Besides that, I need to concentrate well when cooking, since I'm not really good at it. Otherwise, I will burn the food in a second. And finally, the third question. What do you do to improve your concentration? Actually, these days I get distracted easily, since I have become more reliant on my phone because of my work. As a result, when I want to dedicate my time to reading, the notifications stop me from focusing. To concentrate better, I put my phone on silent mode in order to eliminate distractions. In analyzing the provided answers, I have used collocations, synonyms, and connectives to convey the intended message in a concise and effective manner. These linguistic devices help to create a more coherent and natural-sounding speech, making it easier for the listener to follow and comprehend. First, we start with the collocations, which are marked in red. Such as, find it hard. Take forever. Make a point. Demanding job. Pay attention. Get distracted. Reliant on. Dedicate my time and put my phone on silent mode. These phrases not only convey the intended meaning but also help to create a more natural and idiomatic expression. In addition to collocations, I have used some direct synonyms to avoid repetition and create more variety in the language used. For example, instead of saying to concentrate, I use to stay focused. Similarly, instead of simply saying something is necessary, I said it is a necessity in my job. These synonyms not only provide more descriptive detail but also make the language more interesting and varied. And finally, the connectives I have used. While simple connectives such as, besides that, and otherwise have been used, more complex ones like because of and as a result have also been employed to add clarity and coherence to the discourse. And in order to, instead of the word to, highlights a more formal tone and adds emphasis to the intent of the statement. Let's move on to the third topic, childhood. So the first question says, did you enjoy your childhood? Here's my answer, actually, I did. My childhood was carefree without any worries. Thanks to my parents, as they had a positive relationship and taught these values to me and my sister. the second question says, what is your first memory of your childhood? My answer is, my earliest recollection is of a friend named Sarah, whom I spent all my evenings with when I was 5. If I remember correctly, our moms used to take us to parks where we happily played for hours. Now the third question, do you think it's better for children to grow up in the city or in the countryside? Here's my answer, I believe that both the city and the countryside have their own unique charms, making either one a good option for a child to grow up in. For example, the countryside has a lively atmosphere and fresh air, while the city offers more facilities and amenities. Now, let's see what I have used in my answers. Like in the first one. To talk about the collocations and the vocabulary, which are marked in red. You can see that I have used a carefree childhood. To talk about the childhood that you can have, in which you have no problems and no concerns, and you are just happy. Or in the third one. The charms of the countryside or the city. Which means the beauties. A lively atmosphere means an atmosphere full of life. Also, I have used some synonyms, which are marked in yellow. Like in the second answer, instead of my first memory, I use my first recollection. And how I have used some fillers and boosters. Because that is also very important. If you ever run out of ideas or don't know what to say, you can use filler words and conversational boosters to give yourself more time. For example, in the second one, the question was, what is your first memory of your childhood? And as I should talk about something in the past, one of my memories, I have used, if I remember correctly. Or as I remember, or if my memory helps. Or in the third one, I believe that. You can also use in my opinion, in my point of view, in my idea, to talk about your idea instead of just giving the answer directly. And finally, some connectives I have used. For example, in the first answer, I have used actually. Or, thanks to. In the second one, I have used when and where. In the third one, either. Both. Or, while. To show the contrast here. These connective words and other structures are extremely useful, not only for your fluency and coherence, which is the first criteria, but also for your grammatical range and accuracy. The other criteria in IELTS speaking. You should make sure to work on all of these criteria and not just one, because you may have a good vocabulary range, but poor pronunciation, or use good structures, but not good connective words, or you may not develop the topic sufficiently. Therefore, be careful with all of these details, and I highly recommend using speaking mock tests, because they can help you see the score you get in each criterion and your overall band score. Now, if you like these tips, please like and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.